What do you guys think about the global reveal? Can totally hear you. Okay. You're just fine? Okay. Yeah, drops are on, by the way, so for the next hour you can get drops in the stream. People are trolling. Okay, perfect. Yo, what's up, Anton? Elias? Yo, what's up, Hyper? So, I see some people talking about the RAM mount. Like, I don't think the picture did it really justice. And yeah, Gina already kind of helped me set up the stream and all that, so there's no mansplaining here. Going on here? What's up? So excited for next chapter in Quality of Life fixes. Okay, dude, I think the quality, like some of it, I was thinking to myself, dude, Elias would love these fucking quality of life changes. Because it's all about fishing and like inventory management, you know what I mean? Does the trifecta RAM have video effects? Yeah, so it's not as bland as Planesbreaker mount or even the Swash mount. Like, it has good after effects from the footprints. It's kind of like the Godslayer mount, but it's dark blue, but I don't know, it's like twisting flames and shit. The mount has like passive visual effects too. And it does have like interesting audio effect, and also of course a video effect when you rear the mount. Now the infinite dungeon feature is actually Q4, I believe. Yeah. We're live from Las Vegas. So I do apologize if I don't have my usual overlay and stuff like that. We can, I think, get into the game. I don't know if you guys want to make this like a kind of ask me anything about Arcanist or Necrom, because there's a lot more they haven't talked about, and you can actually see on our ESOU website more details actually about the tooltips, item sets, and more. So definitely check it out. And by the way, music. Oh, I don't have to play, Jessica. Thank you for doing that. But I'll try. Jessica. Actually, Jessica's here with me. Idana or Amy, the community manager who was up next to Jessica Folsom. She's also a longtime guildie and friend of mine, and I was so excited to meet everybody. It's so surreal meeting everybody I've known for years, in person, and it's like, it was so bizarre for me because there was this long line of people, going down the, what is it? Is this the guy who says he buys trial runs for YouTube videos? Actually, I sell those runs, but okay. But there was this big long line going into the HyperX arena behind me, and I was just saying hi because I came late with another group, and we were just like saying hi and exchanging, information and taking selfies with one another. I got so many selfies, and all these. Yo! Oh my God! Yo, this is here.
How's it going, man?
God, oh my, we need a selfie, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's so cool finally meeting you after all these years. I'm here with F.U. Finn.
Was that you that shouted that out in the middle of it? Somebody was.
Yeah, I was like, F.U. Finn!
Yeah, somebody.
You were like, what was the favorite DLC or content?
Yeah.
I think I was the only one who said Sanctum Ophidia. And everyone was like,
yeah. It was funny because I called out Ninja. I was like, oh, Ninja said Lair Marcelite, but that was Rich that totally called that out. But that's all right. He loves it.
So super exciting.
Yeah, good times.
And how's your flight in, buddy?
It wasn't too bad. They had said we were all sitting down eating, and then they were like, "Oh, your flight's delayed," and we're like, "Okay," so we stayed sitting down eating, and they delayed it like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh no, never mind. Your original boarding time is when you need to be there." So we all had to haul ass through BWI to get to our plane. It was weird. I was like, "How do you do that?" Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, Kevin was telling me, and I was like, "Nah, I've never."
Yeah, that was weird.
But yeah, what more can you tell us about Sanity's Edge? Because we did the play test in San Francisco,
right?
And we didn't have much time, and then we did some more after that,
right?
And we couldn't get to the first boss because of technical difficulties.
Right. So that's funny. That was a bug that wasn't fixed until the day after we took that stamp. So that stamp's about a good 2 months old. Okay. A lot of stuff has happened since then, some balance and stuff like that. The basic gist of Sanity's Edge is you're in someone's mind and you're exploring what there's a spirit tormenting. There's a malevolent spirits kind of tormenting him, and you're trying to figure out. It's showing him what he perceives to be like a dream or a nightmare or something like that. So you're going to go through actually some pretty familiar places that you've seen in ESO before,
Right.
except a little bit twisted, a little bit different.
It's like dreams, memories.
Yeah, dreams, memories. Well, they're like twisted versions of dreams. Like, oh, this is what the Mages Guild would dream to be, completely dominant and enslaving everybody that's not a mage. And it's like that's not really a dream that they would have, but that's possibly what he's showing them stuff. So there's a lot. There's a psychological angle to that.
And the primary antagonist, I believe, is Vermina, right? Vermina.
The antagonist in that is Ansel the Tormentor. That is the malevolent spirit that's within his brain.
And is that an agent of Vermina, or?
Oh, you would have to play the trial. For that.
Well, that's why you're here. Okay. So we couldn't get into the first boss, but how many bosses are there?
It's same. It's same. There's three. There's three.
And it's hard
There's a
mode for
little
every
bit
boss,
different.
or-
Yeah, there's hard mode for each boss. It's a little bit different in like you saw when we did the like side bosses in Dreadsail. And they were kind of in very, very specific places. Well, in this, we have some what we call mini bosses. They're small ones. But what's really different here is they can pop up in almost any place in the base pop that you're fighting. So you'll be fighting this group, and all of a sudden, mini boss will pop up. So you have to keep your head on a swivel all the time when you're going through
Wait, so these mini boss elites just can't randomly spawn?
Yeah, can't
This is
randomly.
RNG
Yeah.
for trash.
Yes.
Pack
Yes.
or baseball.
Yeah, baseball. Yeah, they'll show up in random places. So you have to kind of keep your head on a swivel and like, oh, what am I gonna do if I engage this group of monsters and the mini boss spawns? Okay, so you have to kind of pivot, make sure your tanks know. Okay, well if this guy spawns and if somebody has to go and pick them up and stuff.
So it's dynamic trash.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Is it like a set pattern or completely?
I mean, all this. You know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
Player
yes,
testable. Player testable.
It's like, I mean,
Absolutely.
because I'm getting the sense that probably it's not possible to go without a mini boss spawn.
No, you'll see them. You'll see them.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
you'll
that
they'll
much
show up. You just don't know where they're gonna show.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So 3 bosses, 3 hard modes.
Yep.
And I guess we're not gonna help on mechanics or anything. Okay.
You know I don't want to spoil that stuff. You guys got to go through that. That's like the fun part of being when we do these trials is the first time on PTS and then on live when we see people tackle these like right at the start. We're like, all right, let's see if they figure it out. See if they put it together and stuff. So that's a lot of fun for us.
We also talked about like I had you on the podcast
Yeah.
last year. We talked about how like you guys balance things and how you work with different teams and departments.
Yeah.
Is it kind of going to be like Dreadsail where you scale it really up and then you tone it down? Does that approach seem to work
It's
out?
really each boss designer will approach these from different ways. So each boss designer, because I try not to force design on people that say you need to build it this way. We make suggestions and stuff. Generally, I prefer to say build it as hard as possible to start, and then we'll pull stuff out for normals and veterans and stuff. But some designers don't work that way. Some designers are like, no, I want these core structures in, and I want these to work, and then we'll add on layers of. So it's really. So it's funny because you guys didn't get to do it on the preview servers that we had, but it's way different. Even if you had gotten past that, it's way different. Like particularly the second boss went through a ton of iteration after the preview stamp was taken, because the preview stamp is really to give people an idea of what the Necrom is, rather than we're going to jump into the trial. So there's not a heavy emphasis on making sure that that's balanced and that works and stuff like that. So.
Hey, I mean, this sounds fun. Dynamic trash.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course the rewards. A lot of people are talking about rewards.
Yeah, what we showed was the Dark Ram mount. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I asked. Did you report this?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I already knew that we were going to talk about it, so I was like, I can't say. But actually, I think when you asked me, I wasn't sure what the final name that we settled on was.
Okay.
So, so that was what you
Ram?
the Dark Ram mount.
Dark Ram. Oh,
Dark
it's not
Ram.
Dark Ram of Dreams.
Yeah. So I think it's just the Dark Ram.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure on the kind of final name for that sometimes. So I'm like, I knew that's what it was, but again, player testable. You get it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice. I mean, from
It
what
does.
I was running around.
Yeah.
The effects look really nice.
It's really
nicer
cool.
than in my opinion.
Yeah. I love it when we can take mounts and build some cool stuff for people. So
I saw a lot of the Twitch chat, and that was revealed. And I don't think the picture did it justice because people were like, "Oh, it's just a goat."
it's just a goat, right?
It doesn't show the effects.
Right. And that's true. The concept doesn't show the effects, and half of the special part of that is what it looks like when you summon it, what it looks like when you're riding around and stuff. So
Okay. And this, I think it comes with body and head markings, the other rewards.
Yes.
Which the item sets.
Yeah.
And then something
there's going to be some, I think it's body and head marking. So what we try to do is get a body kind of cosmetic. So that could either be a skin or a body marking and head marking, depending on what we can kind of get. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look at what it was, but I'm pretty sure it's a body and head marking. Yeah.
A lot of people caught on to also the mount zone from the zone completion.
Oh, the next box.
A lot of people like that.
Yeah, and
they always want
right.
we want more earnables.
Right.
I think that's a good step.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime we can add kind of collectibles and stuff like that to that kind of thing is going to be great.
And I think someone's asking in chat.
Difficulty. I see somebody asked about difficulty.
Yeah,
DSR.
difficulty.
I think it's probably going to come in a little bit. So the funny part is whenever we come into these balance these things, and when we do introduce new mechanics, that will inherently mean it'll be more difficult for some people, but then some people will be like, oh, I could just get this. You know what I mean? I get this mechanic stuff. We were shooting for probably, I think DSR is up there with like, DSR and Rock Grove are kind of up there for top end difficulty that we want to shoot for. We don't want to shoot anything higher than that.
Higher than DSR.
Yeah, so I think this will come in probably a little bit easier than DSR.
A little easier?
Yeah, I think it'll come in a little bit easier than DSR. Once people figure out
the
mechanics,
it's always hard at first.
Yeah. Once you figure out how to do the mechanics, it'll probably come in a little bit easier. Yep.
Yeah. What is this? Ask him when the.
What's that?
It's the same old question.
Oh.
It's like not even relevant to our discussion. Yeah. To your work. No, Finn's not in charge of PvP. Calm down.
No, oh my gosh.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, where's your alcoholic drinks? Have you had drinks yet?
Absolutely, I've had a few. I've had a few. Not a few. I've had. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, we had to get some liquid courage before the stream, so.
Okay. Someone that spelled dream. So like, I'm gonna describe it. So you stack on the bed, or you got the option to stack on the bed. As a No,
what?
At the beginning of the trial.
Yeah.
And you shrink down to microscopic size, and
you're going into his mind, kind of thing. Again, some of those visual effects that you saw on preview weren't there.
Okay.
So you'll see it where like you basically go ooh, like that, and you go into his mind. So you're basically going into his psyche and his mind, not physically, but like spiritually, I guess, or something like that, and exploring the nightmares and the dreams that Ansel is showing him and tormenting him. Yeah. The idea being that Ansel wants to break Vanton, that's the warlock's name. He wants to break Vanton's mind so he can gain control of him, and that a warlock, which is pretty high rank in the Mages Guild, is a pretty powerful ally. And that's why he's kind of like sequestered. There's a lot of Mages Guild people around him that are like, we can't let his mind be broken. We need you guys to go in here and fix it. So
how come they never help us?
I know, right?
I need all the readers.
We do all the shit for them, and they don't do anything for us. Slackers.
So what are you most excited for, personally?
For what? The chapter? I'm excited about the trial. I actually really am interested to see what people do with the new world events. We talked about those. Those are completely new. They're group instances. People have always talked about like, oh man, we want stuff to be harder. We want stuff to be a little bit more difficult. Even group events, we want these to be. You could solo us. Well, this is an instance or a space that you go into, a lot like a dungeon. Right. And they're balanced harder than most. Okay. They're balanced harder than harder than Harrowstorms. They're balanced harder than public dungeons. They're balanced, so probably not dragons were a weird balance point just because of how damaging some of their abilities were. Right. So we'd be like, oh, it's a one shot stuff. So we try to veer away from that stuff. But yeah, these things are very much. Another thing is they're so steeped in story that you have to do the daily quests in order to get these. Right. Find the things out there that you need and to pick up the pieces and then get access to this place. And then you can go in there with your group, hang out in there. There's things you have to do in there, and then there's a ton of stuff you don't have to do in there, but you can do. So it's like a neat little like mini dungeon kind of thing. Okay.
I think at this point there's only 3 questions left from Chad for you.
Yeah.
Were you looking to challenge any particular rule more in the new trial? Because I think a lot of people who tank get stressed out by Dread Sail and Rock Grove. Yeah. Those are very tank intensive fights.
We try to whenever we're balancing or doing anything, we try to make sure all roles are challenged. We try to come in and say, oh, what's the tank do? That's invariably whenever we go through a fight and we see people play it, and we see like our testers and stuff, we see them play it, we see it, and we go, okay, tank, how'd you feel about this fight? What'd you think this was? Were you challenged and want to do it? Or healer, were you challenged in this? Did you need to heal and stuff like that? So we want to engage them, but that isn't to say we don't hear the feedback of people saying, hey, this is a little bit too much I had to manage. So dialing back on that, but it's a very razor's edge of like good. Well, because tanks are like, and I don't want to put this into good and bad tanks, but but really good tanks really will appreciate some of those elements that we throw into it that are like, oh yeah, I can manage all these things and I do all this well. If we venture too far away from that, then they become like, well, this is a tanking tank and this is boring. So we have to keep some of those elements into it. But there's way more challenges in here that are, way more. There are more challenges in here that are group focused and oriented. That you're going to want to pay attention to as a group and make decisions kind of on the fly. So
okay. If you want to make a hard mechanic, you just gotta make people recognize left and right.
Yeah, that is true. I used to always say that. I was like, when we made twins, like, who knew people didn't know how to go? All right, we need to go clockwise and counterclockwise was the death of people.
It's crazy. I mean, if you look at VAS hardware, it's crazy that all you have to do is add some movement, and players just fall apart. It's fall apart. Yeah. They just like, I don't know.
If you know the strategy, then you could just go out and come back in and go out, and the minute you move to the left, everybody's screwed.
Yeah. And I think another question somebody asked was, do you have the Arcanist in mind for this trial for balancing or stuff like that? Because
we did balance with the Arcanist. So when we were doing it, we were balancing with the Arcanist. Now, quite often, because we rely on, it's a symbiotic relationship with combat, where we're very much relying on all the numbers to kind of match up and fit and stuff like that. And then also, where we mainly look at it from is from a effect standpoint, a visual effect standpoint. And that is so that with a new class, we need to make sure that the visual effects don't start drowning out some of the, so there's cool, big, bombastic effects, and we just need to make sure that people could still read what's happening in a fight when they do that. So that's most of where we come in, and we just kind of work with them to say, okay, these numbers are a little bit inflated and stuff like that. Now, the Arcanist adds a ton of wrinkles. Not a ton of wrinkles, but some wrinkles. It adds some wrinkles to what we've been doing in how players are going to tackle this stuff. But the Crux system is going to be great. I'm actually. You asked what I'm excited. I'm really excited for the Arcanist.
Are you going to play one?
Oh yeah,
for sure. Hey, how about you?
So I'm distracted because they're talking about earrings. I thought they were talking about the one you still need to get.
I'm gonna get one today, maybe, or tomorrow.
I'm sure there's somebody on the street in Vegas that can get you an earring.
The street?
There's a guy over there that does tattoos in a little kiosk.
I've gotten pins, so all we need is a safety pin, a little ice, you'll be fine.
Okay, let's do it. We'll stream it right here.
Somebody did that in high school.
Hey, HyperX,
really?
we got
nipple, yes.
Under
awful.
what?
Yes, it was awful.
Hey, HyperX, we got blood all over your street.
Hey,
sorry
about it.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. But yeah.
Reading chat.
Yeah.
I love you, Gina. Is one in the chat.
All right, I'm gonna go mingle.
Oh yeah.
I'll talk to you, man. We'll chat later.
Right. Send somebody else over if you want.
Well, Gina, somebody else. You got somebody else.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's talk about whatever we want to talk about. It's so surreal.
Let's talk about it again.
Okay,
All over
it's
again.
so weird coming here and meeting everybody.
Yeah.
It's like a much bigger scale.
That's how it is at these things, and that's why I always have to tell people, like, you gotta tell me, like, either your username or your Twitch name or your Twitter name. Like, I don't know people by their real names.
Do you call them by their real name if they tell you their real name?
No,
like,
never.
Never.
So, like, you're always gonna be Nephis.
Okay.
Ninja's always gonna be Ninja. I don't call him anyone else. Outcast will be Outcast, and that's just kind of how we know everybody.
Someone brought up the fact that you weren't here for me to mansplain to you about the sound.
Okay, so when I was trying to set everything up yesterday for this, I was telling you, like, it took me a really long time to figure out how to use the mic. And I'm sitting there, I was thinking back for the Outcast, like mansplaining moment.
Yeah.
I didn't know, which is funny because my mic at home has a touch mute and unmute, but like I'm sitting there like testing, how do you turn this thing on? And then I think I leaned on it and was like, oh.
I wouldn't have thought that the mute button was on top either, honestly.
I know.
Is there a symbol or something?
It's a nice mic though. There is a symbol.
Okay.
If we bothered looking, then it would be very obvious.
Okay.
Got a lot of people watching right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are curious about what it's like coming here.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
looking for more information. So,
Well, hopefully,
it's like, oh, you some more information.
hopefully for the 10th anniversary event, we'll be able to announce it sooner, and then that way people have a little bit more time to plan. But even with this, we're pretty much packed out here. There's a lot of people. A lot of people are having a lot of fun. They're eating right now, but they're doing a panel right now talking about like how they brought the Arcanist class to life, which is really cool. So sorry you're missing it. But,
I'm not missing it.
We are recording all the panels and the activities and stuff, so hopefully at some point we'll figure out how to release those so then anybody can check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have this this poster thing. Right.
Where'd you get that?
San Francisco.
Oh,
So I'm gonna like have everyone sign it.
that would be nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna have everyone sign it.
Are you gonna keep it or are you gonna give it away?
Why would I give it away?
I brought somebody.
That'd be probably
Friends!
priceless.
We've never met. This is
Never
Memphis.
met? Oh my
This is Tom Murphy. He is the zone lead for
Nice to meet
Necrom.
you.
It's a pleasure.
He's the zone lead for
This is
Necrom.
fun.
So any like Necrom questions
Here, you're
that
safe.
he can answer,
Yeah.
or go
Of
first.
course.
You guys chat up with him right there.
But what are you most excited about?
Me?
The
I
live show.
think the end of the day when we're finished
Yeah,
and we can
yeah.
just chill out finally. But no, I honestly love these events. I love that we're going back in person finally and we get to meet everybody. Like there's been so many people that come up and they're like, "Oh, I'm so and so." And you just immediately recognize them and you're like, "Oh shit, I can finally put like a face to the name that I've been seeing." So, yeah, the live events are super fun. So,
Yeah. I was kind of referring to like the chapter. But you know, chill.
okay,
you
bye.
have to leave it up.
Trial, I think.
Okay, trial, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not amazing, but I can hold my own, and I think this one especially is so different from the rest of them. It's gonna be a cool story.
Have you tried Bastion Nimic, the world events yet?
I haven't tried them yet.
I think you're gonna love them.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah. I mean, I love doing dungeons and group content and everything.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of time to play though.
Sure.
So like, I think being able to just hop into those and having them be kind of like mini dungeons is pretty legit.
Yeah, and it's great too because you can kind of you can do them quickly, but there's a lot that you can explore optionally as well. Like
Yeah.
a lot of our newer dungeons have side content and secrets and things. We definitely wanted to build with that in mind when we created these events. So I think that you can really like go as far deep into it as you want, or you can just do like a quick thing, get a really satisfying gameplay loop, and call it a day.
Are you looking at chat?
Yeah. Do the instance world events have a player limit? Yeah, it's 4,
That's a good
right?
question.
Yeah, it is a four-person.
Also, it's a dungeon, like what Finn was saying.
Exactly.
Instance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And how?
This feels like this is all planned, like we're doing a planned interview, and it's
No,
not.
it's
like we're kind
completely-
of just swinging by and being
That's
like,
completely
"Oh, here we are."
Completely impromptu.
I need to run. You good?
I'm great.
Okay. See you
Soon,
later.
Never better.
Bye, chat.
Okay, so you were I couldn't catch it earlier because
Oh, sure.
my head was swimming.
Yeah.
So you're in charge of you're zone lead.
The zone lead, yeah.
Right.
So
There's
a
so
lot
many
of
titles.
I
I
know.
always get
That we
confused.
all are.
You know, Finn. I'm gonna actually berate Finn about this later. Finn came onto our podcast
Yeah.
last year, and he made it sound like he was the boss, like he's in charge of the zone, like the zone enemies and all that. And then I met Jeremy,
Yeah.
his boss,
Yeah.
and I told Jeremy, hey, he made it sound like he's your boss.
Yeah.
So do you work with Finn, or are you
I
like-
do. I do work with Finn.
Okay.
So Finn does have sort of his purview is all of the encounters. You know, trial, wilderness base pop, quest boss fights, world boss fights, and so you know Jeremy sits on top of the pyramid of
Right.
content, right?
Okay.
Kind of making sure everything's cohesive. that High Isle feels like the same game that Necrom feels like. My job largely focuses on quests, non-quest, like achievements. Like there's some stuff that's kind of, we call it like random distractions, random encounters that are like, oh, well, you talk to this guy in Western Skyrim and he'll sell you a skeever on a stick if you want, and like.
Oh, like that, like that magician guy on the roads of Blackwood.
Exactly.
That just pops in and okay.
Right, and it's just like a fun thing that you can run into while you're exploring the zone. That's where I spend a lot of my time, just on quests and that kind of stuff. Citification, or like the content that we put into cities and towns to make them feel lived in, to give you a population to Blade of Woe or Pickpocket or Trespass interiors, that kind of stuff.
Like the little details.
Yeah, that's the small stuff. Yeah.
So you have to work a lot with the Loremaster, the lore team, probably.
I do, yeah. So we are like very enmeshed, a fine series of gears. Zenki, our illustrious Loremaster, kind of makes sure that sort of like Jeremy makes sure everything plays like it's cohesive. He makes sure everything feels like it's all like treating the universe in the same way. And it doesn't mean like he comes with a big stick being like, you're never gonna do this because the lore says you can't do that. Like, the best part about the Elder Scrolls lore is it's pretty flexible, right? Because it's all so driven by points of view. Like, we very rarely say anything that's like, this is set in stone.
Right.
It's always like, well, this is what I think happened to the Dwemer. No, this is what I think happened to the Dwemer. Funny voices are a thing of mine.
It's good.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of the unreliable narrator kind of.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Aspect.
And so he'll come in and be like, we want to do a story that deals with Kemel Z, which is a really big Dwemer ruin that gets written about. It's been in books since Morrowind, the OG Morrowind came out. And like, he'll come in, he'll be like, all right, these are the things that we need to know. This is where it's going to be positioned in the zone to match up with the stuff that they wrote about in lore. But otherwise, like, you can go nuts.
Okay.
Incidentally, if you're a So the Sill fan, I suggest you check that out because there's a lot of really cool stuff there.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's one of my favorite quests. I love all my quests. Not all mine. We have a great team. They put a ton of energy, blood, sweat, and tears into these quests, and they're all great. Kemel Z just happens to tickle a few fancies of mine. So.
Did you actually? How long have you worked on ESO?
I joined during Somerset.
Somerset. Okay.
Yeah. So like
wow.
that's kind of a long time for like the general game development world, but like
Right.
at ZOS, obviously, like Rich has been here since the
beginning.
first era.
Yeah.
Right. And like a lot of our teams like that, and that's ZOS is great about that.
Right.
You have a lot of old blood who knows this game in and out and what makes it work and what makes it successful.
I actually have a lore fanatic. This guy, he's one of the lore masters.
Yeah.
We call lore master for
Sure.
the player community.
Yeah.
He has some questions for you.
Do my best.
Okay. When designing a zone like Necrom, which hasn't been seen in 30 years, how much do you look at the literature of the test lore? How much creative freedom do you have? Did you take any inspiration from outside sources, such as books, movies, or media?
It's a really good question. And obviously, we want to make sure that when we're tackling a zone that hasn't been seen since Arena, basically, right? That we're not like undoing the work that has been established.
Right.
There is a lot of great stuff in text that, Arena couldn't necessarily act on from a visual perspective, but it still laid a lot of the groundwork for what we wanted to showcase and do. So like a lot of this goes kind of to get really deep into it. The legend of Golga Morgil, like this entity. It's never really defined what Golga Morgil is. But the legend goes that Vivek killed him and his cadaver or bones or whatever laid the foundation for the city. I love that Vivek believes his own hype. Like, Vivek is great, but he's also, like, not necessarily the most trustworthy. So we wanted to kind of let players decide whether or not this was true.
Right.
So we wanted to design a city that fit into this, is it the, ossified rock of this weird creature? Is it just somebody saw this weird stone edifice and was like, well, maybe that's the bones of an ancient creature that Vivek killed. Vivek says it so it must be so. And, you don't really get a clear direction either which way. But we wanted to pay those off. In terms of like outside media, with Necrom specifically, I don't believe so. We had a lot of, our own work in Vardenfell with Sadrith Mora, going back to the original Morrowind with Sadrith Mora as the inspiration for like the biome and the regions of the Telvanni Peninsula. Obviously, for Apocrypha, we went to Dragonborn and tried to just like create a logical extension of what we saw of Apocrypha there. We did see some interesting stuff for sources with the color out of space as the inspiration for Chroma Incognito. Sorry. Incognita. It's a cool name, right? It's a cool sounding name. And then like just going really deep into some of the, Hermaeus Mora as depicted in lore is also like viewed by the Khajiit as Her Mora, or by sailors as Hermes Mora, and like, there's a really cool ship graveyard that really trades on that particular aspect of him, trying to just pay off all of these different little sentences and references and one-offs.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. That was a great answer, by the way, for the question.
Yeah.
Since you brought up Vivek, the quantum of births, machines, and words in between, how much of those half-truths help color your approach to creating?
Yeah, well, I think that kind of gets to the idea of like making sure that when you build something that like you try to almost create like a Rorschach, like an ink blot kind of creation, right? Like you want to build a city that could be nestled in the bones of an ancient creature, but also could just be in the shadow of some strange stone formation, right? Like you want to make sure that you're not still satisfying people, but not fully completing any stories or, finishing any sentences, for lack of a better term. Like you're always trying to like thread this needle where a lot of what the player brings to it is as important as what we bring to it.
Okay. Well, what are you most looking forward to with the chapter? In terms of, I guess, what you work. I mean, what
Yeah.
you didn't or didn't work.
Well, I think it's just going to be great to let people in, right? Like, we've built this amazing series of worlds. The team has done such a great job bringing, like, paragraphs. Like, I wrote, like, a paragraph for each quest, right? When we originally were pitching this out. And, like, people take those chunks and they, gnaw on them and they spit out parts they don't like. They add things they do like. And it creates this weird and kind of like, I mean, not kind of, it's a totally awesome, like, package. And letting people finally get a chance to dive in and see, like, well, this is how we're doing something cool with the Dwemer, and this is how we're doing something with the Telvanni Masters, and this is what Apocrypha, like, we have a society in Apocrypha. How does that work?
Right.
Like, seeing players get to dive in, rip all that stuff up, see what they find interesting, like, that's going to be exciting.
Okay. Well, let's see. What's the hint of the next zone after Necrom? I don't think you can answer that one.
No.
Can you? No?
I think I'm gonna just say
Okay.
you should probably play Necrom, and you'll maybe get a little bit of a start of an overall arc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a bunch of people are very anxious or excited, I guess, to get in right away.
Oh, for sure.
Prologue quest hopefully will sate your...
Yeah, you'll meet Laramel, Laramel
yeah.
the Wise.
Oh, yeah,
A great character.
Were you also in charge of writing that letter or helping write that?
No, Bill Slavacek, our lead writer, wrote the
Slavacek
letter.
did it?
He helped me. So actually, Laramel first came from him.
Right.
This character took a lot of different forms before we ultimately landed on the picture that you saw. But yeah, he was a huge part of defining Laramel's voice in that letter that people got. So.
Final question before I let you go. You're probably busy or you're going to socialize. Is the main quest going to be longer than previous main chapter quest lines since there's no Quarter 4 DLC zones?
Yeah, so we
okay.
did take aspects that, we planned these things so far in advance that, like, we originally were thinking about like how we were going to tell the story of Shadow over Morrowind, and there were things that we wanted to do later on that we brought forward to try and make sure that we were setting everything up that we wanted to set up. You know, every story in the Elder Scrolls Online, every chapter, I think, tries to tell something that both is like relatively self-contained, but also like lets you continue to look forward to new horizons, right? And so that's one thing we wanted to make sure we laid the groundwork for properly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we added a few extra quests.
All right, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that is what's with the green. Why is everything? Well, I don't think you answered that question.
What's wrong with green?
Yeah,
I
what's
mean,
wrong
it's
with
not
green?
easy. Yeah.
I mean, I'm personally stuck with black and red from Greymoor and Blackwood.
Yeah.
Green's a nice change. Green's a nice change. And before you go,
Yeah. Awesome.
all right. So,
All right.
and if you like, you can send anyone.
Yeah, I'll
one.
go grab someone and explain when I find them. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks so much for your time. Yeah, and that was the ZeniMax Online Studios Zone Lead talking about Necrom and all that and lore. So thanks for the questions, Loremasters. Yeah, so I'm gonna let other people know that they can come up here. I have about 20 minutes left of the stream before I have to hand the computer off to some other people. So I'm gonna like let everyone know if they want. I'm at front of HyperX Arena. Streaming theater. But yeah, it's need to tweak mic volumes. You know, a lot of you guys keep saying some people keep saying like a lot of people are saying audio is fine. Some people are saying audio is not fine. So which is it? I don't know. Maybe check your own audio settings. Because I'm not really being helped by. I adjusted maybe some of the volume. You turn it all the way up. Okay, how about now? Oh,
I brought you the Loremaster.
Loremaster, the Loremaster himself.
All right.
We actually,
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
and you are actually really nice to meet you.
Hi, it's great to meet
My
you.
name is Nepis or Casper.
Yeah, absolutely. You live right now?
Yeah,
Awesome.
we're actually just talking to Tom. No,
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tom, the zone lead, about zone, and we actually touched a lot about lore because there's so many people who are interested in lore.
Heck yeah.
So I guess if anyone has any questions for the Loremaster of ESO or Elder Scrolls,
Hello,
yeah.
folks.
And you're actually the third.
That's correct.
Loremaster
Yes.
in the history of the ESO.
Illustrious shoes to fill. Lawrence and then Lehman and now me. I don't have a name that starts with an L, unfortunately. So I'm like, I'm a departure, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but,
that could
but
be,
yeah,
that'd be
Yeah.
good. Right. You know, actually, I have a personal question.
hit me.
Because I've only read this from like newspapers and articles. Is it true you guys can't really delve too much into the Akabiri or the Dwemer because Todd Howard's like, hey, don't do too much of that. You can do some of it, but not too much of that.
So what we choose to focus on narratively is always very much kind of, it aligns with what our goals are for a given release, right? So Necrom's a great example. Mora and Apocrypha and all that stuff arose very organically from what the sort of the narrative, the story bits that we started with. And so I wouldn't say that we're ever hemmed, like boxed into a corner or we're ever like, don't touch this, don't touch that. It's very much about like, what are the goals of the release? What are we trying to do narratively?
Right.
And then all the rest of that stuff, like, it aligns down the line.
Did you, I actually talked to Finn, and I asked if he worked a lot with the lore team and the departments. And, I guess you had a hand in the tooltips and
For Arcanist, absolutely,
the
yeah.
Arcanist,
Yeah.
the trial.
So Nani Wackhouse is a very talented writer on the team. She's the primary writer for Dungeons and in particular Trial. The Trial that's coming up in Necrom that was all her. I'm this weirdo sitting in the corner that does support for everybody, right? So like anytime there's a sort of a question of like, hey, we're trying to do something new here, or what are our opportunities, right? Like I'm the guy that gets talked to for that kind of stuff.
Okay. And out of curiosity, because I asked Tom this, might as well ask you. How long have you been working on ESO?
Oh, well, it's a complicated question for me. So I was with the team when we shipped back at launch. And at that point, I think I've been with the company almost 5 years, for quite a while. And then I took a leave of absence, worked at a couple other studios, and I'm going to be back in August. It'll be another 2 years. So, like, in aggregate, almost 7 years, but, continuously it'll be 2 years in August. So, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you questions myself, but there's so many questions people have for you.
No worries.
All right, let's see. We know Sothasil is appearing in Necrom, but any news on Almalexia? Can we expect to see more of her, the model upgrade? And I've seen your tweet about the Mercy Mother's attire.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been digging at how a lot of people enjoy the lore behind that
So
costume.
cool. Yeah.
So, are you like an Almalexia fan, or?
I mean, how
Or
can you
just the
not
lore
be a
fan.
fan of the three, right? Like,
Right.
they're such great characters. So, two-part answer to that. Almalexia is not one of the sort of focus points of Necron. That is true. But at the same time, because we're back in Morrowind, we're back in that region with the Dark Elves, we do have a new Tales of Tribute deck coming in, and it's all Almalexia. She's the patron, and all of the mechanics and the cards sort of focused around that are directly connected to her and her sort of narrative context.
Okay. And do you think she'll make a reappearance?
I mean, anything's, especially with
Anything's
the three, anything's possible. Yeah, absolutely.
How interconnected are you with the dungeon, trial, arena team in terms of design? I'm very curious if some older dungeons lore could be expanded upon. Like when Celine's web got followed up on by Loremaster. I think a lot of people earlier were telling Tom, hey, how about Vaults of Madness 2 or something like that.
Right. That's a great question. Actually, a funny story. My roommate, I lived in Seattle for many years, was Jonathan Toe. John was the original writer for all of the original dungeons.
Okay.
We worked together. We both worked together back on ESO back in the day. And he was my roommate for many years. He's an incredible dude, very talented.
That's so
guy.
cool you guys were roommates.
Yeah.
Just like happened.
He's an awesome guy.
Okay.
So as for like sort of sequels to the dungeons, that sort of thing. Again, when I talk to the dungeon team, when I talk to the arena team, it's all about possibilities, right? And absolutely, like the idea of returning to previous, especially in the dungeons, right? Because there's fun little like nuggets of story, right? That could be expanded on. Like you said, do a sequel. I'd say never on that kind of stuff either.
Okay.
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
Okay. Let's see. Last question, I guess. I played the prologue in Hermaeus Mora talk. Oh, wow, that was quick. Did you guys just release the prologue?
Literally just, yeah.
What the heck?
That was fast.
That was really fast.
Next work, next work.
I played the prologue, and Hermaeus Mora talks about himself quite a bit in Apocrypha's connection to Nerd. In the imperial census, am I reading a thesis? In the imperial census of Daedra lords, while unofficial lore has influenced ESO literature most famously in the tract of Merid Nunda and nocturnal being Urdra, her Mora claims to be formed of thrown away ideas of creation. Will we see this concept being touched upon? I have no idea what I just even read.
Oh no, don't worry about it. So
you know, right?
So that's a deep cut.
Right.
Forever. First of all, so nice work there.
Okay.
I would say tangentially, yes. Hermaeus Mora, it's funny, right? You look him up and he's got a lot of titles. That is a squid with a lot of titles. And one of the things that we do try to explore is his role as this ephemeral being that connects not just to, physically Apocrypha or like physically through when he manifests, right? Like, but just like any other data prince, look at Sheogorath, right? He's got smooth talking Sheo, loves cheese, right? And then you got Skooma Cat, right? Like he wears different faces for different opportunities. Hermaeus Mora in this release is there's going to be a lot of similar vibes. You get an opportunity to explore the different like guises of Hermaeus.
Okay.
So,
let's see. There was a topic on the forums a while ago that the Loremaster could settle. Oh, okay. You ready for this one? There's tapestry in the game featuring the Arbic Phoenix, but in the second era, this school of magic is only a proposal by Gabrielle Benel. So how can the design exist?
So there's two answers to this question. The
Okay.
first is that as the two previous Loremasters sort of framed it. Stuff that we end up putting in the in-game store is, I would categorize it as sort of quasi-loreful, right? Like, we make a concerted effort all the time to make sure that the stuff that goes in the store makes sense contextually, that makes sense within the world. Because what I look at as an opportunity to inject little lore nuggets that maybe we can pay off down the line, or that we could return to in future releases. Something like that, I would say, is a great example of something that, like, hey, what if there was a specific weaver, right, who read Gabrielle's very convincing paper, right, and was inspired to weave a beautiful tapestry as a result of that experience. That's just, my personal interpretation. Excuse me.
I can see that because, like,
Yeah.
some flags in history have been made before they became
Exactly.
official flags or something like that.
Right. And especially when you're talking about magic, right? Like,
Right.
Folks love to hang their hats on particularly weird stuff.
Okay. What's your favorite Elder Scrolls? I think this is the last question that we can take. What's your favorite Elder Scrolls related meme? And also, will we see a living Dwemer in ESO?
Oh man. Second one, I'd say never say never to almost any question.
Okay.
But I would put the odds real low on that one, just to be like real honest with you.
There's a living one in Morrowind, so
For sure, but
we already know.
that's just my opinion.
Right.
Sorry, what was the first question? I apologize.
What's your favorite ESO lore meme?
Oh, lore me. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. There's too many. There's been so many great ones about Necrom recently. I particularly like the ongoing sort of really challenging relationship that Elder Memes has with the cake and the statue. That's the kind of vibe that I really like.
Okay.
Cool.
All right,
man.
Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, no problem.
Episode.
Hey, no problem. You're gonna take a picture?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sure.
With the Loremaster of ESO.
All right, man.
Super cool title.
Cool. Hey, no problem. You have a really good day.
Yeah,
Bye, everybody.
that was the Loremaster of ESO. We do have 5 minutes. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. Because I started 208. Gina's like, okay, just 208. Okay. Yeah, so we got. Oh man, I would love to talk to more devs. I would love to bring Rich and somebody else. There is. Come in. Wanna come in? I invited like other people to come, but I don't think they saw. I think they're doing their own stuff at the back of the arena. So yeah, we got like 4 minutes left or 5 minutes left for the stream. So if you guys have any more questions, hey, what's up? Say hi to the screen.
Hello.
Everybody, Lyris, Lyris. But yeah, what's going on in the back? I mean,
Well, they just started the panel on the designing the Arcanist class.
ooh, okay.
So like talking about like design elements, and they're kind of showing some concept art, and like it's kind of cool.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lyris will also be
I'm
streaming.
at 4.
You're at 4?
Locks at
So
3.
check her stream out once she goes live. But yeah, I'll see you soon.
See you later.
So we got 4 minutes left. So I'm gonna try to make the most of the 4 minutes of this as possible. I really wanted to bring like other devs, and I don't know, maybe Rich. I met Kevin, the forum manager. I also met a longtime guildie and friend, Idana. You guys saw her on the global reveal. She's the other community manager, standing next to Jessica. So it's been a very surreal experience. I feel like meeting all these people. So I was talking about the story where like there was this big line, and we were walking past this big line heading into the arena. And like every few steps I took, people were like, "Yo, Nephis, hey, Nephis," and I was like, "Who are you?" Like it just felt really like bizarre having people recognize me and ask me for selfies and shit. It's pretty cool. It's been a pretty cool experience. And Locke will be taking over here pretty shortly. That was not Rich. That was the Loremaster. HyperX, you asked about harder overland content. Let me just slide this. You can help me if you want. There is going to be harder overland content in terms of instanced world. I think world boss or 4-man instanced overland. delve of some kind. So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I got 2 more minutes, and then I will let you have it.
Oh no, no rush, no rush.
Lot. This is Clattuc, and this is Gandy. Yeah. So I'm just like talking about how like amazing it's been meeting everyone.
Yeah,
Meeting everyone. God, it's been super fun.
it's always fun, yeah.
What's your favorite part of the event so far? What's going on back there?
Right now it's just eating.
Eating?
Eating and
Yeah,
drinking.
what do you got? What's on the menu? What's on the menu?
Barbecue right now. They got barbecue sliders.
Barbecue
Yeah, yeah.
sliders.
Well, you have to make your own sliders, which I realized after I ate all Yeah. the food that the
Okay.
bread was for sliders.
And they have like the name tags from the different like foods that you can make on in the game.
In
like-
ESO, yeah.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So
It's
like,
good food though.
yeah, a coleslaw with a barbecue slide.
Yep.
Okay.
They do.
Okay.
Spicy coleslaw, well, spicy coleslaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. I'm gonna be forgoing stinky ESO chat for barbecue. But yeah, 1 more minute left, and I'm gonna hand it off to Locke. If you guys have any more questions or anything, or you want more details, you can check out the ESOU website. We're actually also gonna have an update to the ESO website. Oh my god, why is this control working? So check out the link if you haven't done so already. And there will be a front end update along with.
Are you still live?
Yeah, we're gonna end here pretty soon. Actually, 1 more minute and I'm done.
Sweet. I brought Wes with me.
Oh my god! Everybody, this is Wes Johnson, the man himself. Voice.
You can just call me Miss Moore.
See? They're excited for you.
Let's
There
say.
you go. There you go.
Hello.
All right.
I got my hat. We're all ready to rock and roll. It doesn't look as good in plastic though. So
Oh, protects it forever.
yes, it does from my head. It needs protecting. From my head.
Okay. Well, with that being said,
You're
and,
next, Dan.
we
Oh,
will.
keep playing. I'm just hanging. I'm watching you.
Oh, okay.
There's
Well,
Plop now.
where's
Oh,
Plop? Okay. So
This guy's
and
gonna pop on next.
and
All
I,
right.
I still would love to get those autographs if possible.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys soon and have a great time. Love you guys. Okay.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Is there an ending? Bye.
Boom.
Bye. It's
You're-
like, I was looking at